So guys, today we're back with another roundup video here for Marathon before the closed alpha actually goes live this week. Today we got things like the Rarity system inside of Marathon. We have a quick preview of all the different Rarity classes within the game. Then we're also going to be going over what the highest rarity of backpacks, implants, and cores look like. These are going to be the main things that you use for build crafting, so we'll cover everything we know about that. And then we're going to end off the video here by going over a brand new article that was revealed from Forbes via Paul Tassi, who gives us a little behind the scenes look at the things going on over at Bungie with the NDA being dropped and all that good stuff. So let's first go over the Rarity system here for Marathon. Obviously, this is what the Rarity system looks like thanks to Marathon Bulletin for this nice little image. We have standard items, enhanced, deluxe, superior, and prestige. Now, if you've played literally any looter shooter style game, this is pretty common Rarity systems. Standard obviously is your common item worth nearly 0 credits, but offers base abilities or expansions. Then you have enhanced, which is slightly above common, hardly worth any credits, but offers above average base abilities on expansions with these items. Then you have deluxe, which is a decently rare item, but most common rare item, worth average credits and offers some bonus abilities associated with the item. Then you have superior, second highest level of rarity available on items, worth mostly a lot of credits, and also grants great bonus abilities associated with the items. And then finally we have prestige, which is the highest level of rarity available on items, worth a lot of credits, and has the best bonus abilities associated with these items. Speaking of prestige items, let's now head over to the Discord where one of the devs, I believe it was Tocom, went and gave us a look at what some of these prestige items look like. So we have a preview here of 1 implant, 1 backpack, and then also 4 cores. Now these items are going to be what you mainly use for your build crafting and how you can make the runners your own basically. So for the first implant here, which is of prestige rarity, you have a distance runner version 5 with a unique trait where sprinting does not build heat for a short time after sliding. Then you also have the negative effect there of marginally decreasing weapon handling and aim down sights speed. Now obviously with how distance runner unique trait works, this will be great for people who run glitch because they're a movement based character, but putting this on any of the other runners will also grant you an insane benefit. Now these implants aren't insanely strong benefits, but they're just slight little things to grant you a little bonus within the game. Now this distance runner is called version 5, so you can bet that there's a version 4, 3, 2 and 1 at the lower rarity tiers, and you'll probably still gain more heat capacity, but just not as much as this prestige implant grants you. Also, you might not also grant yourself the marginally decreased weapon handling speed and aim down sight speed, but to kind of balance that, you do gain quite a lot of heat capacity, which is really, really good. For those who don't know what heat capacity is, also this is your stamina system, so when your heat capacity maxes out, you become overheated, meaning that you are unable to sprint for a short time until that heat capacity cools down a little bit. Now, moving on, let's go over and look at the backpack that was shown here, also a prestige rarity. This thing is called the 24XS Sneak Pack Plus and grants you 24 inventory slots, I'm guessing, but also invisibility when opening a container. Now, invisibility is very, very strong in this game if you've seen any of the Void gameplay, so being able to have that on any character sounds very, very strong, especially when opening a container. That's you looting and stuff, and because loot in this game, when you open a container, isn't immediately there. If you've seen some of the gameplay, loot kind of takes a while to load in, it seems. So granting yourself invisibility will allow you to basically have 100% safety when looting items from containers. Now I don't know what is classed as a container. Does that mean the loot that's dropped from players or enemies, or just loot that you randomly find in chests? We need to wait for the alpha to kind of get an understanding of what a container is classed as, but being able to loot almost basically freely does sound very, very good. Next though, let's go over some of the cores that were shown, and these are some of the bigger upgrades that you can grant to the different runners. So we have 1 core here for each of the characters within the alpha. First up, Impact Siphons. This is for Locust, and it grants incoming damage dealt to a riot barricade is returned to you as shield energy. Now, how I think this could work is either one of 2 ways. Either when you have your riot shield up, it will bullets that hit it or damage that hits it will just grant that shield more HP, meaning that if it takes damage, you'll just basically helping that person keep their shield up. Or how it could work is that when it takes damage, it will decrease the cooldown of your next shield, which means that once that shield breaks, you could then potentially immediately bring up the shield again, which also would be very, very strong. So for all my Locust mains out there, this might be a very strong item for you to keep an eye out on. Next though, let's go over Shadow Strike, which is a prestige core for Void, where your utility knife grants greatly increased damage when attacking from invisibility. Now your utility knife, I believe, is your base melee weapon that everyone starts out with, and I believe is the only thing that you keep when you die. Basically, being able to grant yourself greatly increased damage with that melee weapon from being invisible is going to be very, very good for Void builds. We've seen in the trailer that the invisibility is quite strong. If you're not paying much attention, a Void can just sneak right past you. So potentially this could be a one-shot melee if they do sneak up on you, which would be very funny to see. I doubt that this would end up going into release. If it is a one-shot, I would potentially understand it being like a sneak attack that does a lot of damage to kind of get the jump on somebody, but then maybe allows them to react at least in some way before they die. So probably won't be a one-shot, but either way, it's going to be a very strong core for Void players. Moving over to Microjet Efficiency Package, this is for Glitch, and it grants an additional Microjet's charge that generates less heat. Now, Microjets is her ability that allows her to double jump, so gaining an additional charge will mean that you'll be able to triple jump, but also because you generate less heat, you'll not only have triple jump available, but also you'll be able to jump more often than you normally would without this core. This is going to definitely help out Glitch with even more movement, aside from the increased sprint speed and slide distance that she has in her base kit, which is just going to make her even more of a menace to deal with, either during gunfights or if they're trying to escape from a losing gunfight. Then finally here, for Blackbird's core, we have Intuition, which grants interrogation, now triggers upon downing a hostile runner. Now, for those who don't know, interrogation is a skill that Blackbird has, that when they assassinate somebody or do the finisher move, they ping the remaining members of that person's team. Now with this core, you'll be able to trigger that ability just from downing a hostile runner, which sounds very, very strong, because mainly Blackbird is there to grant you information from range, so this is definitely going to help out with that. It allows you to get that interrogation skill off from a safer distance. Just imagine you have your sniper rifle equipped, are able to down someone, and then you ping to your teammates where that person's other two teammates are. That is just sounding in my head so strong. I'm going to say that on paper, at least, just from reading that, that sounds like the strongest core out of the four that we are seeing right now. And one thing to note about cores is that these are going to be the main ways that they end up like customizing or buffing characters in the future. So these are the cores that will be available within the alpha. Obviously there might be more cores when they fully release the game, and then also I believe that in future seasons they're going to be adding more cores as well. But I could also see them potentially removing some problematic cores. So if one core is just overly used within a season, in the next season they could be, okay, we'll take that core out and add something else in, and then maybe add in some other cores for the other characters so that they can get some time in the spotlight. And yeah, these cores sound very good. Hopefully this gives you an idea of the level of character customization that you'll have in this game. One of the main criticisms that I've seen of this game is that people are just calling it a hero shooter, but with these cores, implants, and backpacks that you're able to find within games, it allows you to have a level of customization that you don't really see within other hero shooters. Now, to end off today's video, we're going to read a little bit here of Forbes' new article here from Paul Tassi. Gives us a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look at what's been going on within Bungie ever since the gameplay reveal stream ended. So the things they go over here are the closed alpha as well as what's happened with the NDA, and then we also have some little bits of news about an open beta potentially later this year. So first off, the closed alpha exists truly as a technical test ahead of launch. They didn't want it open now to everyone because they need to limit the number of players so that things don't totally break. They need at least a somewhat limited test like this, and that certainly is not uncommon in the industry. Next up, Bungie did the NDA assuming things would leak given the scope of the test, but as long as it would be somewhat limited, it would be, quote, good enough. They weren't going to take anyone to court over it, which was not a surprise there. And then the next thing Paul goes on to state is that after the reaction to the gameplay reveal, leadership was nervous, but they tried to reassure teams. Ultimately, they figured it would shift the narrative if the NDA was lifted. I'm also seeing a ton of codes go out, plus friend codes, so I wonder how many alpha denials are even going to happen. It does in fact seem to have helped. Then also there will be an open beta, most likely in August, much closer to launch, where you'll be able to pre-order its various editions ahead of the September 23rd launch. And at this time, as everyone assumes, Marathon costs $40 in the vein of Helldivers 2 and yes, Concord. You simply cannot pull the trigger this late on suddenly making a game free to play, even if it's a common complaint. Not that it's the plan anyway at this point. Now those are just the major bullet points within this article. If you want to read the whole thing, I'll have it linked in the description. But yeah, seeing that the reveal stream didn't go down too well, seeing that they're removing the NDA from the closed alpha is definitely a good thing. It allows people to get a more easier idea of what this game is going to feel and play like now that their favorite streamers are able to stream it and show gameplay to a much wider audience. That's very much a good thing to happen. Him seeing a lot of codes go out also sounds very, very good. At the moment, I still haven't received a code yet, so I might not even get access to the alpha, but hopefully when the alpha goes live, there might be more codes and streamers might be able to hand out some friend codes and stuff, so I got my fingers crossed there. Also, the mention of an open beta in August does sound very, very good. I feel like for a game like this, especially if it's going to cost $40, having an open beta to give people a little bit of time to play the game before it actually goes live for even like a week or so is definitely going to be great, because there seems to be a lot of people still on the fence about whether or not they actually want to play this game or if they'll end up liking it. And yeah, sounds very much good overall. Seeing the NDA lifted is great. Fingers crossed I do end up getting that code so I can play a lot of this game next week, so I can get you guys out some content and also my thoughts and feelings on the game. Otherwise, it seems like we're mostly going to be waiting until an August potentially open beta before the game launches on September 23rd. And yeah, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you did, remember to leave a like and subscribe. And once again, I'll have the Forbes article that I've read through here linked down in the description, as well as the link to Marathon Bulletin, where all the other information here came from today. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next one.